Rowan is startled when she first sees her mother Deirdre bleeding to death in episode 3 titled Second Line. Carlotta runs across her dying niece. They understand Deirdre is indeed dead. By the time he gets there, Cyprian picks up Rowan from the crime site and heads to the hotel. They enter the apartment that Cyprian uses as his office in New Orleans. He informs Rowan about the Talamasca's operations and describes how the group works to safeguard supernatural beings like them. Cyprian contacts his superior at the company, whose men work to protect the building from any outside threats, as Rowan settles into the flat. Cortland is confronted by Lasher, who says he will hurt him if he gets in the way of his plans or deeds. To find out who really killed Deirdre, Cyprian visits the hotel where Rowan stayed and enters the elevator where Deirdre was killed. When Cyprian touches the elevator's walls but is unable to see anything, he realizes that the murderer had erased the elevator's history in order to cover up any evidence of his involvement in the slaying of the 12th Mayfair witch. He also looks over Deirdre's corpse for any clues. He begins to see visions of Rowan's birth when he touches the dead body, which deeply affects him. Rowan continues to live in Cyprian's apartment as a fire breaks out in the building, requiring the occupants to leave. Rowan exits the building and makes his way to the Mayfair residence, where he runs into a funeral procession. She talks to a woman after joining the procession and she persuades her to take a mystery potion. Rowan meets Lasher after consuming the same, which affects her perception of reality. The mystical force tries to charm Rowan and even succeeds in doing so to some extent, but he is unable to connect with her fully. Meanwhile, Cyprian tracks her down after learning that Lasher was nearby when the fire started and returns her to the apartment. Rowan doesn't have any reason to trust Cyprian when she first meets him. When she discovers numerous of her images on his phone, she becomes even more dubious of him. However, Cyprian gradually earns her trust by defending her as she deals with a series of paranormal and exceptional occurrences. Rowan believes that Cyprian is the only other human who has her specialities and supernatural abilities. Rowan is then given a demonstration by Cyprian of how touching objects can allow him to glimpse their pasts, both living and non-living. Cyprian is attempting to untangle Rowan's history by touching her. Rowan has a lot of unresolved questions when he gets to New Orleans. She continues to have more questions even when she arrives, and they go unanswered. He wants to provide the answers since he has been in Rowan's shoes and wants her to understand her origin and superhuman abilities. Cyprian can witness how Carlotta took Rowan away from her mother Deirdre and brought her to Ellie Mayfair, who later adopted Rowan after posing as Elena Fielding by holding Rowan's hands. Rowan might learn who harmed and aided her mother through Cyprian's visions. Cyprian might also learn how strong Rowan's magical abilities are. If so, she might be able to take control of it and utilize it only when necessary. Rowan might be able to control her talents with Cyprian's assistance as opposed to having them control her. Cyprian's ability to successfully hold Rowan's hands without causing any harm shows how trustworthy he has grown to be for her. Rowan may finally comprehend all of her foes through his visions, as well as the best way to employ her abilities to lessen their threat.